I'm a dog. I put work in, day out. Call 12.
Back on that timing, baby. I kept receipts, too. I kept receipts.
What's up, everybody on YouTube? AJ Russ about to discuss another video, and by the title of this video, you can tell that we're going to be talking about why the NBA community has to stop disrespecting Ja Morant. Now, before we get into this video, I know people are going to be like, oh, no one's disrespecting him. We think that he's a great player and stuff like that. There's been a lot of talk and things of that nature, not only obviously about the off the court stuff, but on the court as well. With him missing the first 25 games, a lot of people thought that players like Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson, I even saw people saying Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, and a lot of players like that are better than Ja. And obviously, we know what he did off the court, guys. He flexed the gun. Now, all this talk about him saying that he needed mental health and stuff like that, I'm 21 years old. I see with a lot of different friends, not necessarily using the gun, but people listening to rap music and stuff like that, trying to flex, listen to YoungBoy and all that stuff like that. We know what that is. I mean, it's not embracing that because he's a role model. We're not going to really talk about this off the court stuff that much. He made a mistake, learning from it. I don't like how he did that little gun celebration after beating the Pelicans, but it was still live and he's still been playing great. So hopefully he doesn't encounter anything with that again in terms of guns and stuff like that. But he's a role model. He has to set an example, and we're past that. But we're talking about on the court. Honestly, there's maybe like 4, maybe 5 max guards, not just point guards, but guards and shooting guards that I would put over Ja Morant. That list would of course include Steph Curry, obviously, Luka Doncic, D-Book, and maybe you can make the argument that's it. I mean, I would say maybe Shea, but I think Shea and Ja are on the same level, honestly. Now, Shea, he went crazy last year and he's going crazy again this year. I mean, he's averaging 31 points per game right now, so I'm not really gonna argue too much against Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. If you wanna say he's better than Ja, hey, and the Thunder are playing good this year. Low-key, I'm kind of comparing them to like how the Kings were last year. Just a really good team. Of course, Chet, arguably Rookie of the Year and stuff like that. But honestly, maybe Shea, D-Book, Luka, and Steph, that's the only people I'm taking over Ja Morant. We know the difference that he has on the Memphis Grizzlies organization, how they started off so horrid, so poor. When he stepped back on the court in that Pelicans game, instant impact. Of course, we saw him hit the game winner. And now they've been 4-0 since his return. Now they have a tough stretch going up. Now they have a tough stretch going forward because they're about to play against the Nuggets, the Clippers, and the Kings, and things of that nature. So we'll see how they stack up in the West going into 2024, into the All-Star break and nearing the playoffs. But with Ja Morant, I mean, you have a chance for sure. Of course, you have Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr. around him, but disrespect like people like Halliburton, who's been playing really good this year, but the Pacers are still an average team at best, in my opinion. He's not better than him. Jalen Brunson, he is for sure an all-star this year, going crazy. I mean, Brunson is averaging 26 points per game and 6 assists, so for sure an all-star this year, but he is not better than Ja Morant. Tyrese is not better than him. Donovan Mitchell, in my opinion, even though he's been in the league a couple years longer, I don't think he's better than Ja either, because they've both only been to the second round. So, I mean, let's be real right here. But yeah, man, I mean, Ja, he is different. And since he returned from his suspension, he's averaging almost 29 points per game, 8.5 assists, and 5 rebounds. And the only flaw I would say about Ja right now is his shooting, man. He's shooting 16% from 3. That's definitely awful. He has to clean that up. But no one's stopping it right now. I mean, his first step is so quick. He's able to get to the rim, create for others, really opening a lot for his teammates. So really, his athleticism, his playmaking, and his overall style of play opens things up for his game. He's able to facilitate and still get his and get buckets. So we just acknowledge how box office Ja Morant is as a player. I mean, the Grizzlies, they've been successful really every single year since he's been in the league, getting drafted in 2019. So the disrespect has really been annoying. I hate how people try to decipher off the court stuff on the court activity. I mean, he plays with a chip on his shoulder. I mean, he's a dog. He's gonna let you know when he's getting buckets. He's not one to buck down or shy away from a challenge. So maybe that comes off super aggressive or to some people, but you have to acknowledge that he has the potential to be the best player in the NBA, even at the guard position, because we know a lot of people, especially in this era right now, bigs, 3s, 4s, and 5s, they really dominate the game. But Ja Morant is really transcending things, and my favorite player of all time, D Rose, being there, not necessarily he's gonna make a biggest difference because he is 35 now, but just someone to mentor him if you do want to have some off the court type of example. And then also D Rose had a similar play style to Ja Morant, so he's able to steward him in the right way and things of that nature. And I wholeheartedly think that the Memphis Grizzlies will make the playoffs still, and it'll be revolutionary in terms of where they started off, because they were on their way to the lottery for sure. Let's be real, dog. Ja, just him being in the lineup and out the lineup, I mean, he brings your team to a dumpster fire, to actually a real playoff contender, to a potential fringe championship contender. I wouldn't put the Grizzlies on championship level yet. I still think they mean like a little piece, not necessarily like a star, but someone who's super consistent, like a 3-and-D type of player at the wing position or something like that. Maybe Zion Williams could step into that and ascend his role, but I don't know about that. They could try to make a move at the trade deadline. that will potentially push your odds to be championship contenders. But honestly, I feel like the Grizzlies will be playoff locks. I know it's crazy for me to say that as a 13th seed right now is where they stand, being 10-19, but they were just 6-19. They continue to string wins and get wins together. They could get their way to top 5 in the West potentially. I mean, it's a long season, 82 games, still 43 left for them, so a lot to learn and a lot of opportunity left for the Grizzlies to ascend. But Ja Morant, man, he is arguably on his way to being one of the all-time great guards. I mean, that's really not a subjective statement. Really, it's a fact, honestly. People like Allen Iverson's of the world. He kind of is reminiscent in terms of his demeanor, and he's more athletic version of him, honestly. So it's just really crazy to see the disrespect that he's taken, of course, during the suspension and during the offseason. But now people are starting to wake up for sure. When he hit that game winner against New Orleans, not only the first game of his suspension return, but also when they just played him again. I mean, he's definitely a top 2 to 3 point guard in the league. And honestly, he's a top 4 to 5 guard overall. Because like I said, the only point guards I would take over him is if you put Luka at the point guard, I would put him and Steph over him. Luka's one of my favorite players. So I mean, I'm biased, but honestly, you look at his ability. I mean, come on now. He's different for sure. But Ja, I mean, he's right in that same fold though. We shouldn't be questioning his ability. The only thing that should be questioned is some of his off-court decisions, of course. But in terms of saying people have passed him up and things of that nature, nah, I can't go with that. And another player that I mentioned earlier, De'Aaron Fox, honestly, he is very tough too. Obviously had an all-star season last year. Like I said, the Kings took a huge leap in the 2023 season. Him and Sabonis are doing great things out there in Sacramento. He won clutch player of the year and things of that nature. But De'Aaron is really cold too. I still wouldn't take him over Ja, man. A lot of y'all might look at the numbers and be like, but bro, he's averaging 30 points per game, 6 assists and 4 rebounds, shooting almost 50% from the field. I get it for sure. But I look at it like this, in terms of like the NFL comparison to the NBA, think about the NFL with Lamar Jackson. Now, obviously, I'm not saying the Grizzlies are championship contenders like the Ravens are right now. I was there hooping, they're balling, and arguably Lamar Jackson is the MVP. But in terms of Ja Morant, if you take Ja Morant off of the Grizzlies, we just saw how poor they are. And same thing with the Ravens. I mean, there's a huge drop off when Lamar Jackson isn't playing. So I kind of compare Ja Morant to a Lamar Jackson in the NFL in a sense. And honestly, there's not a lot of people I would take over him. I mean, there's a distinct reason why the Grizzlies were a 2nd seed in the 2023 season and in the 2022 season. So he makes a huge difference in our lineup, and that honestly can't be questioned. They did lose in the first round. I guess sent home to the crib by the Lakers in the 2023 season, but they did reach the 2nd round in 2022. So there's definitely something that goes to say in terms of impact with Ja Morant being one of the most impactful players to his team in the NBA. Only LeBron James, Luka, Giannis, Jokic, and a few more players have that type of title in terms of their impact to their teams. But yeah, guys, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where the Grizzlies do place. Like I said, I think they're going to make the playoffs with Ja in the lineup, of course. But you have teams like the Clippers, the Kings, the Nuggets, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Suns, the Pelicans, the Kings. There are so many stacked teams in the West. It's insane, but it's beautiful. Love this for the NBA. It's great for the league. Of course, the Eastern Conference having some, of course, top-heavy basketball with the Celtics. I feel like the Celtics should be the favorites over the Bucks to make the NBA Finals. That's my personal opinion, but I digress, and of course, I will elaborate more on that in future videos. But the race to the playoffs, into the 2024 NBA Finals, is going to be beautiful for sure to see. And Ja Morant, not necessarily saying that they'll make the finals because I do not think they're championship contenders. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Ja is great and he's elite. He's for sure an elite player, top 10 to 15 player. I'm not debating that. I'm not saying that they're going to make the finals, but Ja is a top 10 to 15 player. I'm not even trying to hear no talk about that. We can talk about it in the comments down below for sure because he definitely is. He's not even one of my favorite players, but I'm just acknowledging it for real because he is that great. But this type of parity in Ja Morant, I mean, he's great for the NBA. It was very boring without Ja for those first 25 games, and it's really better for the league that he's back. But yeah, guys, let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. What are some of the things that y'all have heard about Ja Morant in terms of being disrespected? Like I said, I elaborated on it in the video. But honestly, let me know where y'all think he ranks in terms of not only players in the league, but guards specifically. Because like I said, the only guards I would take over Ja Morant are Steph, Luka, D-Book, and maybe Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's it. And I don't even know about SGA all the way because I think that him and Ja are honestly on the same level, but I digress on that because SGA's mid-range is lethal. His three-point shot is improved too. I mean, he's definitely tough. So, I mean, you can make the argument. I wouldn't be mad if you say SGA is better, but Ja is on their level for sure. I appreciate you guys watching. Always make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SwaggyRuss. And also on TikTok at SwaggyRuss02 for cooking videos, shorts, reels, things of that nature. Stay tuned for more NBA videos. Of course, I post my NFL stuff too. Love the NBA and NFL. Basketball specifically is my favorite sport for sure. So just stay tuned for more content. We'll have a lot more throughout the season. I'll be blessed. Hope 2024 is amazing for y'all. Y'all have a good one.